We've been working with the big brass at American Muscle Cars, but you don't get the rep that Sal or Brett share without a sterling staff. Every hand that touches the Impala will ultimately affect the high standards of their award-winning shop.
A couple of things we wanted to get done today were to mount the exhaust system.
The plans are definitely in motion. It's crunch time. I won't just be subbing in today. I'm penciled into the starting lineup. Swinging with these guys is not about bragging rights, but hey, you just might see my trot if it leaves the yard.
There's self-leveling actuators that mount to all four corners of the suspension. Those obviously need wiring to be able to send the information back to the controller. So running that wiring is something interesting in itself. We try to hide as much as we can with wiring because it's ugly. So we wanted to make sure we got that into the car today, from the front corners into the cab. Today, Dan had to clean up the vacuum pump bracket that was made prior to today's install. He cleaned and painted it and then installed it. The vacuum pump supplies vacuum to the power brake system because the engine doesn't produce enough of it, so we have to have a supplemental vacuum source. Dash pod assembly was fairly easy. Dan had actually installed the new gauges into the gauge cluster. So now that the dash pod was now painted, we needed to assemble the gauge cluster into the pod. Upon visual inspection initially, we realized that we didn't have the 100% correct hardware, which is okay under these circumstances as long as we have a fastener that's going to secure it adequately. So we went ahead and pulled the original clips off that used sheet metal screws and just replaced them with 1032 panhead machine screws and nuts.
This is beautiful. Who put this together? And you'd never know I built it.
We connected the gas tank to the existing fuel line that we had mounted to the frame, which included an inline fuel filter.
Got a lot of stuff done, a lot of little stuff, a lot of little customized stuff. The vacuum pump for the brake system, and the wiper transmission. Just a lot of little tedious work we got.
It can seem tedious because it's careful. Freshly painted parts and surfaces call for extra care. Extra care calls for extra time. If care and caution isn't used now, the shop's paint and body men will be in our face in a flash. They don't want this car back in their hands anytime soon.
We have wipers. If we had the linkage hooked up and we had the wiper arms, perfect.
I'm still terrified of getting it done on time. We have about 3.5 to 4 weeks to get it finished. And it's going to be what's known as a thrash.
But the car will run and drive. It will look good. It'll be done visually, technically. I'm 100% convicted that the car will be done. The original Be Cool radiator we had was not a cross-flow radiator. We thought that it would go in relatively easy into the stock core support. But we found out that we had a hood clearance issue with it. We went to a cross-flow radiator though, which Be Cool made for us, but we didn't have that in time for mock-up. So we're doing a little bit of mock-up on final assembly, which is not something we generally like to do, but you know, certain tasks need to be done, and whenever you can squeeze them in is whenever you can do it.
With the right radiator delivered, the front end is taking shape, with a gleam and shine only seen on show-quality cars.
This '64 Impala will definitely be cool.